Hello, Amiga coders and Amiga graphics artists. We're going to continue with the tutorials, and the first thing I'm going to do, because it pissed me off, is swap out the logo. It really doesn't fit the design of the demo. As you can see, first of all it's red. I mean, it's not too bad, but it would be good if it matched the rest of the colors, so you could get some design in the demo. Also, don't worry, we'll get rid of that smiley face sprite and do something useful with the sprites instead. So I'd like to plug something, if I may. Some of you may have noticed that since we last met, I've done a bunch of Amiga Future articles starting in January, from the very, well, not as basic as in these tutorials, if you'll forgive me, but at least starting at a place where you get everyone on board, and showing how to develop demo effects. So this article series is called Developing Demo Effects, and it's in the print magazine and also PDF magazine Amiga Future, available in English and German, published bi-monthly, and you can get it by googling for Amiga Future, and you can buy it online and get the PDF right away, and also the files, or you can buy the physical magazine and get a CD included. The CDs contain the sources, of course, for each demo effect that I show how to code. So far I've done checkerboard floors in 3D. I've done bob snakes, and also coming up is vector bobs, vector calculations, and vector bobs. So that's something for you to think about, and it's meant to be the continuation of this tutorial, actually, so that if you learn the stuff in these tutorials, you can get these articles and continue off to more advanced effects. Also planned is a few YouTube tutorials, like I will do a tutorial on vector calculations and drawing lines and filling polygons and so on, and I will make YouTube tutorials about what should have been the first step, namely how to install WinUAE, the Windows Amiga emulator, and setting it up for coding. Or doing other stuff. I mean, just preparing some folder on your hard disk to work as the Amiga hard disk, and how to get the stuff on there and get it going. But now the commercial is over and we can get on with the real stuff. So I decided to redesign the logo, and I can show you this here. So what I did was just pixel in Deluxe Paint and try to make a better job of the anti-aliasing, which I really thought sucked. So I did do the new logo, and I started out sort of cheating a little bit, making sort of parts like this, and making a sort of sky logo according to this sketch down here. So this is the old logo, and I wanted the new logo to replace it, so I wanted to get the approximate size right. So I brought in the old logo and drew some lines and checked the angles and so on. And then I drew some parts and anti-aliased them and made some sort of logo here. Experimented with colors, and so this is what I thought I'd use, and I made some sort of effect here, just drawing this detail and slightly offsetting it vertically with equal spacing, and masking with the stencil mode and some other stuff that I don't have to show you, because I just want to get this logo into our demo. That's the plan for this tutorial. So that's it, and then I will swap to the swap screen, the other screen. You can press J and have an extra workspace in which to load stuff or draw stuff and copy stuff and so on. So I'm going to load this one, which was a little more timid looking design, a little more standard reflection thingy that fitted better than the red pattern thingy in the other one. And so I replaced this 7th color with a darker blue, and well, if you prefer this design, go right ahead, and I'll put the file online so you can use that instead, or you, as 2 other YouTube users, I'm sorry, Amiga coders who happen to watch YouTube tutorials did. They tried to replace this logo and asked me for advice. So this is sort of a response to that. I'm going to use this Sky Final 3, and let's head to the IFF Converter, which I've made a quick command for. All this is recorded in WinUAE using, you know, an Amiga 500 configuration, cycle exact, and so on. So everything you see on the screen is as fast as it is if you don't make any changes to the default configuration of WinUAE. So here's where they were. Let's load that. And this time, in our demo, we're actually using, we actually have space for 70 pixels, and we've put the amplitude, or double the amplitude of the sine wave at 69, accounting for the thickness of the copper bar that we used. So what we'll do is, we're showing 70 lines of bitplane data. So we're going to cut this out from the top here. And I noticed it was a little bit misaligned when I cut it out from the very tight edge of the left edge of the logo. So it's not quite a full 192 pixels width. So I'm going to go out a little bit here. Of course, all you have to do if you're in a demo group is ask your graphics artist for a logo, and the next evening it's done. In an ideal world. So that's 70 right there. And as you can see, we're using 32 colors in Deluxe Paint, but we do not care about that. We just enter, we're just using the lower 3 bit planes, the first 8 colors, so that we've now cut out the logo. I'm first going to overwrite the palette that we converted last time. Actually, I'm going to do that last. How's that for planning? Either way, we're not going to include the color map with the logo, so CMap off means in the binary file that we convert this IFF picture into raw bitplane format, we're not going to include the RGB values for the palette. And we're not going to put it in this directory. We're going to put it in our ASM school directory, and we're going to call it, I don't know, sky3.raw. Let's just remember these values, something like that, and 70 height, and we know the depth. So sky3.raw, interleaved format, and we're going to save that. Now that we've done that, we can toggle this over to copper. I have no idea what I called it. Let's call it sky3.copper.s, something like that. And it will save a small 1 or 2 lines of assembly code to declare the RGB values for us. So we're done here. We can go back and we can see what we include, what binary files we include. That's the sine wave, that's the font, and that's the logo. So we're just gonna change this to whatever we called it, sky3.raw. And since we filled the height, I think it will be okay to just test comment this out. This was padding before, now it's not needed. At least I hope so. We'll soon find out if our bullshit theory is correct. And that's the first step, so let's check that out. This will use, of course, the old palette, and it doesn't look very good, does it? So we do seem to use some more lines than that, but that fixes it. But we still have the wrong palette. So let's go to LogoPal, and here's our palette, and we just include sky3.copper.s. There's our palette. Now we have a bit of a problem. If you check this here, you can see that we set and reset the copper palette when we do the copper bar thing, which means that whatever we do with that thing, we have to copy the palette. I'm sure I told you in a previous tutorial. So we're gonna copy the palette and just remove the oops, I'm sorry. I'm gonna copy the palette. I'm gonna use Alt Delete, I think it is, yeah. That's to remove a word. So there we are, and we're not setting the background color every time we do. Well, we want to set the background color to the actual bar, moving bar color. So we only need the 7 colors. Now, if we have a look at our color definitions here, we used a pointer into a table that moves along this table and sets these different palettes like that. This is actually, well, a bit advanced at least to follow. If you didn't follow this, well, just continue off from the next tutorial and you'll probably learn it later. It's a little bit premature to do it this way, but it's pretty much the way you have to do it. So here is our logo palette. You see these 2 lines. This is the logo palette copied, and it's duplicated all the way down here. Now we could just paste it like that, but I want to make this a little bit more dynamic at least. So I'd like to introduce to you macros. This is a macro assembler, and as such you can declare a macro to simply paste. The function of a macro is to simply replace text. You paste text, whether it's declaration of word values or whether it's code or whatever. If you put that inside a macro and then use the macro, just type the macro name, then that code snippet, you could say, inside the macro gets pasted every time. Now macros have a few parameters that you can use to make it even more dynamic, but for now we just want to, if we wanted to change the palette of the logo at another time, then we wouldn't have to go through all of these and paste these, but we could just replace it once inside the macro and once inside the copper list by converting the palette to the copper list like we just did. So anyway, I'm going to declare a macro from this, and the way you do that is you type the macro name, for example, logo colors. Almost went British on you there. And declare it as a macro. And at the last part you type end macro. So what this does is declare the macro, and the macro has to be declared before it's used. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to set a mark here, and I'm going to go to the top. I don't think we've used macros before, and before the code here, somewhere before the first line of actual code in your demo, you could have it before the declarations of constants, but my preferred point is here. So we're just gonna say macros and demo and paste it in there. So here's where you can put your macros later on. There's no way to make this look any prettier than it is, so I'm going to be happy with that and go back to Mark 2. Here's where we were, and to put that there instead, you just type logo colors, like that. So that means that we can copy this, remove, paste, remove, paste, remove, paste, remove, paste. Hang on. Made a boo-boo, did I? Yeah. Remove, paste. And there's one final one down here. So, remove, paste. So that should potentially do it. I'm going to write this down as tutorial 35 and see what else there is left to do. Yeah, it looks perfect. Notice that we didn't get the transparency effect. I'm going to leave it like this for now and address that issue in the next tutorial. One thing that I notice is, if I can talk louder than the music, is that you can see that we have clipping here by 1 pixel, and that's because the logo is taller, and then we have a space here of 1 pixel. So what I said just then, if you didn't hear me over the music, was that there was a space above the logo of 1 pixel, and when the bar that we used was at the bottom position, it sort of clipped 1 pixel of the logo there. So there are two ways to do this: either move the logo up or adjust the bar position. We'll try one before we resort to the other. So I think we made a constant for this in tutorial 33, I think it was. Maybe not. Maybe this is it. 4c. No, I don't think so. 4c minus 6 plus 37. Yeah, I think this is it. So if we modify this, I subtracted 1 from hex 4c, which gives hex 4b. And try that. No, that didn't fix it. Of course, we have to move it down, right? I had a 50-50 chance. When you have two options, it's hard to choose. So there it is. Thanks for watching. In the next tutorial I will show you we will bring this whole demo into a framework commonly called startup. That has nothing to do with the Amiga's startup sequence. It's just a piece of startup code that lets you in a system-friendly way turn off the system, grab the hardware and do what you want with it. Previously we had this code to do this, which is very basic, just so I could explain it easily in the first tutorial, so I could get you going, so we could take over the operating system as quickly as possible. But there is a bit of an art to this, to taking over the system, to make sure your demo works on all Amigas and so on, and we'll address that in the next tutorial. And we will then bring this demo into the startup I made for the Amiga Future article series, and these are available on coppershade.org. So if you want, you can have a go at this. Just remove this startup code that turns off the system, and similarly at the exit after the main loop, you bring your main loop into this startup framework, which is on coppershade.org, and you add your routines and graphics and everything to the end of that. So try that, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks.